My name is Bukya Krishna, roll number 20951A2130, branch Aeronautical Engineering. So, today my topic is electricity powering combustion hydrogen engines. Hydrogen is means to chemically store energy. It can be used to buffer energy in a society, increasingly relying on renewable but intermittent energy or as an energy vector for sustainable transportation. It is also attractive for its potential to power vehicles with near zero tailpipe emissions. The use of hydrogen as an energy carrier for transport applications is mostly associated with fuel cells. However, hydrogen can also be used in an internal combustion engine (ICE). When converted to or designed for hydrogen operation, an ICE can attain high power output, high efficiency, and ultra low emissions. Also, because of the possibility of bi-fuel operation, the hydrogen engine can act as an accelerator for building up a hydrogen infrastructure. The properties of hydrogen are quite different from the presently used hydrocarbon fuels, which is reflected in the design and operation of a hydrogen fueled ICE. These characteristics also result in more flexibility in engine control strategies and the more routes for engine optimization. This describes the most characteristic features of H2 ICE, the current state of H2 ICE research and demonstration, and the future prospects. Producing hydrogen from excess energy, distributing it and storing it aboard vehicles also offers massive scale energy buffering because of the very large number of vehicles worldwide. Moreover, when converting hydrogen to motive power, the main reaction product is water vapor, leading to a reversible cycle without any carbon emissions along the fuel production to fuel use path. The working principles of the typical gasoline and diesel engines currently used, as well as some common terminology. For the majority of road transportation, these types of engines work according to the four stroke cycle, in which four piston strokes complete an engine cycle: intake, compression, combustion, and expansion, the power stroke. Exhaust, as depicted and further explained in Fig. So intake stroke, compression stroke, power stroke, and exhaust stroke. These are the Figs. The compression ratio of an engine is defined by the ratio of maximum to minimum cylinder volume, that is the ratio of the cylinder volume when the piston has completely descended to the cylinder volume when it has reached the end of its upward motion. See Fig 1. These two piston positions are termed bottom and top dead center, BDC and TDC respectively. Thermodynamic analysis suggests that the theoretical cycle efficiency, the ratio of the engine work output to fuel chemically energy input, increases with compression ratio. Another important factor influencing the theoretical obtainable efficiency is the working fluid. The properties thereof depend on its constituents, air, fuel, and residuals from combustion, depending on the engine type. When the amount of air that is admitted to the engine is such that is just enough to fully burn the injected fuel, the engine operation is termed stoichiometric. The actual fuel to air ratio divided by the stoichiometric fuel to air ratio is called the fuel by air or equivalence ratio. Thus, phi is equal to 1 denotes stoichiometric operation. If phi is less than 1, more air is aspired by the engine that is necessary for complete combustion. This is termed lean operation. The reversible phi is greater than 1 is termed rich operation. Diesel engine basics. In a diesel engine, only air is drawn into the cylinders during the intake stroke towards the end of compression. Diesel fuel is injected directly in the combustion chamber, which will auto ignite due to the high temperature of the compressed air. Here, the combustion progress depends on the rate of injection. the rate of evaporation of the injected fuel, and the rate of mixing of the fuel vapor with the air to form a locally combustible mixture. The short time available for fuel air mixing necessitates excess air, that is, phi is less than 1. The power output is now controlled by the amount of fuel that is injected, as opposed to the amount of fuel air mixture with for a gasoline engine, which is termed qualitative control. Thus, part load efficiency is much better than for a gasoline engine, as reducing the power output does not rely on increasing the intake flow resistance with a throttle valve. Peak efficiency is also higher because of the higher compression ratio of diesel engines. In this case, actually needed to obtain sufficiently high compression temperatures to allow auto ignitions, as well as the overall lean combustion with which a diesel engine is operated, leading to better thermodynamic properties of the working mixture. Automotive diesel engines are now almost exclusively equipped with a turbocharging system. This consists of a turbine wheel in the exhaust manifold, which is powered by the engine energy still contained in the exhausted gases, itself driving a compressor wheel in the intake. Thus, the intake air is compressed, leading to a higher specific power output of the engine as more fuel can then be injected per cycle. The non homogeneous nature of the diesel cycle, with large variations in local fuel air ratios, leads to quite high engine out emissions of PM. Engine out NOx emissions are comparable to gasoline engines. Unfortunately, because of the overall lean operation and relatively low exhaust temperatures, effective after treatment is difficult to achieve. The overall lean operation leads to exhaust gases containing oxygen, which makes it difficult to reduce the NOx to N2. The relatively low exhaust temperatures lead to low catalyst activity, thus tailpipe emissions are generally higher than for gasoline engines. Due to the better part load efficiency, the CO2 emissions are around 20% lower, and the fuel economy is typically 25 to 30% better than for gasoline engines. For diesel engines, a peak efficiency of 44% is currently the state of the art, with 36% achieved for gasoline engines. The specific power output of diesel engines is increased by turbocharging and reaches a level up to 75 kilowatts per liter engine displacement. The three main reasons for a hydrogen economy to be so desirable consider that a reversible cycle can be established with hydrogen made from water and turning back into water when used. A variety of sources can be used to make hydrogen, and the conversion of the hydrogen into other forms of energy results in zero emissions. Further advantages for the case of hydrogen powering an internal combustion engine include combustion engines to be an extremely mature technology and their productivity from recyclable materials, which both reduce cost. In addition, the internal combustion engine route opens up a multi-fuel option where hydrogen is used when available and another fuel is used when it is not. The unique operations properties of hydrogen create certain challenges such as combustion anomalies, but also open up the potential to increase the power output by more than 15% compared to conventional gasoline engines. Further, the wide flammability limits and the high flame speeds even under lean conditions enable the use of highly efficient lean burn engine load control strategies. At this point, prototype and demonstration vehicles such as the Ford Hydrogen Shuttle Bus or the BMW Hydrogen 7 take some advantages of the unique properties of hydrogen while demonstrating the near or zero emission potential. These are the Ford Hydrogen Shuttle Bus and BMW Hydrogen 7. Thank you.